Welcome to the latest video of Spot, which is short for Simple PPM Orchestration Tool. Spot is our popular PPM add-on for any form of PPM integration. It allows you to create quick and robust integrations in a standardized manner. Previous videos available on our website demonstrate integration with financial extracts, Jira, ServiceNow, Rally, and Smartsheets. Today, we're going to demonstrate integration with yet another popular tool, Microsoft Dynamics 365, or D365 for short. Those of you who have seen Spot before will recognize many new enhancements and changes, reflecting the continuous improvement and investment we've been making in this tool. But first, let's give you a quick reminder of what Spot is all about and give you an overview of some of the use cases we'll be demonstrating in this PPM to D365 integration. So Spot is the first and only generic connector for OpenText PPM. We consider a one-stop shop for PPM integrations, regardless of the third-party data source, whether it be a simple flat file or a different system. And this also works in both directions. And we're able to create these robust integrations in a standardized manner by eliminating the complexity associated with PPM integrations by using a Excel-based step-by-step wizard. It leverages proven components from products developed by PPMetrics throughout the years and deployed worldwide. Not only can it be used for data exchange, it can also be used to clean up data if it's necessary in a staging area as well. Now, let's give you a couple of sample PPM to Dynamics 365 integration use cases. So the ones you see here highlighted in bold and italic are the use cases we're actually going to demo today. So when it comes from exporting information from D365 to PPM, we're going to sync invoices to PPM financial summaries. We're going to demonstrate that. So other use cases might involve creating PPM timesheets from D365 actuals, seeking project codes, and importing resource allocations from D365 into PPM staffing profiles. And in the other direction, when we're exporting information out of PPM into D365, we're going to show you how to export PPM time data to create D365 invoices. And another straightforward use case is to sync project status and progress updates. So before we show you the first use case, which we're going to load aggregated posted purchase invoices into PPM financial summaries, let's take out the state of the data in both systems. So here we have a financial summary for a data center centralization project. If we go down into the cost details table and look at the detail lines, we have two lines for non-labor for consulting expenses and equipment. And you can see here we forecasted amounts for April, so 200,000 and 600,000 respectively. Now, if we look at the posted purchase invoices, we have quite a few invoices, about 250 or so. And basically, we're going to sum up this information into the financial summary here using our Spot to set up that integration. So let's go ahead and look at Spot. So Spot is a single Excel tab, and we use it to configuration. And if need be, we can manually edit the data before it travels to the target system. So when I say staging area, that's what I mean. So however, once the integrations have been configured, and assuming data can flow without manual interventions, we can actually then set up those data loads to be fully automated. So the first thing we need to do is hit the magnifying glass to initiate a load. I always start with selecting a load template. So these are pre-configured. Some of these you see here down in this Dropbox are out of the box, and some of them are custom. So each template is essentially a container of various settings pertaining to the integration. So I'm going to go ahead and select D365 to PPM project cost flow. So this is our first use case. I'll click enter. So this is the very first step in our wizard. So in this case, we are selecting the data source and target. So in this case, we're going to import into PPM. The source is going to be defined applications, D365. We're going to work with posted purchase invoices. And if I select a different template, I would then have selected a different application, such as Jira or such. But in this case, we're working with the Microsoft product, and the target system is PPM. We're going to be exporting information into financial summaries of projects, and the metric we're going to use is cost. So let's go into step 2 of the wizard. So this is where we have fields from the source and target systems, and we essentially map them to each other, hence the tag name field mappings. So we have our fields from PPM, and we have our fields from D365. So when you use Spot, Spot's always going to dynamically interrogate both systems and show the current list of fields. So down here, the dropdown are all the list of fields coming from D365. And this is dynamic. So if we went back to the previous step, set it up again, it will pull the latest information. So the template that I chose stores all these default data field mapping you see here, and you can change them as needed. But in this case, I think they're all pretty good. So let me quickly explain what's happening here. So we're basically joining the PPM projects to the invoices using the account ID field from D365 to the external project code. So hence we have the ID and join clicked off. Then we're going to go ahead and transform the D365 tax code to valid PPM categories. So here's a transformation here on this column. And we're going to default values for operating and non-labor for the types and labor. And then we have here the period. So this is essentially setting up the date parameters. And when we have the amounts come over from the D365 invoices, we're going to sum them up for the same project period and cost category. So moving on. So Spot went ahead and used all that information here and basically set up the 3 records that it mentions here for Spot processing. So the very last step of the wizard is to decide what to do with those 3 records. In this case, we're going to choose merge and create. So that means that whenever Spot's able to find existing matching records in the target system, it's going to go ahead and sync that information. Otherwise, it's going to create them as new records. So I'll click on OK. So the data gets loaded into Spot, and you can see here the first 2 rows aren't fully orange. So what Spot did was find invoices, and they're actually able to match them according to these cost categories and sum them up, and they just happen to be actual values. So hence we have changes in actuals highlighted in orange for the equipment and consulting expense categories. But it did find a new software non-labor category, and it summed up all the information and was able to determine that 155,000 actuals need to be created on the financial summary. So this is basically my staging area. So I can use this to conveniently edit the information if I see an issue. So if I need to adjust values, I can just type a value here. In this case, I'm going to quickly just add a new description. And when I want to save my information back into the target system, in this case, the PPM, I just click on the save icon. And whenever I hit save, before the target system gets actually updated, Spot's going to go ahead and pre-validate the data and notify me if there's any issues. So for example, if the actual values had character values instead of numeric, Spot would pre-validate and warn me about that before it actually saved the values into the target system, in this case, PPM. So I'll click on save. So the 250 D365 invoices have now updated PPM. So let's go ahead and take a look at the financial summary. I will reload. And now I have 3 detail lines. So the 2 existing lines for non-labor and for the non-labor consulting expense and equipment, they now have actual values. And a new line with the descriptor I previously typed in has been created with the 155,000 in actuals. So Spot logs in detail every load and every record updated, and there's also a convenient UI to actually access these logs. So clicking this little button here, I can click on the completed loads. I'll click on the top run, which we just ran. I'll click on generate API calls log, and then this icon will actually generate those logs. So 2 files get created, an Excel file and a text file. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's in those logs. So here we have the actual API call being made. And then when I look at the actual And these are the 250 different purchase records or purchase invoices. If I scroll down, I can see how each of them was specifically processed. And if I scroll all the way to the right, we can see if there was any failures, but in this case we have S, and it should be S for every one of those invoices, indicating success. In this demo, I've only processed 250 records, but Spot as a tool is designed to efficiently handle integrations with hundreds of thousands of records and more. So now I'm going to quickly show a different use case where data is going to flow from PPM to D365. So in this scenario, PPM is used to manage actual effort, but the actual invoicing for some of this effort is done in D365. So let's go ahead and take a look in PPM. So here we have the staffing profile for this data center centralization project. We have a developer application role, and we have several resources assigned to this role. And these resources are from the same company, in this case, First Up Consultants, and that company needs to be invoiced. So let's take a look at the current state of the invoice in D365. So here's our invoice for First Up Consultants, and right now I only have 2 lines, one for Marty and one for Lena. So let's go back to Spot and set up our integration. Again, we click on the magnifying glass icon. This time I'm going to choose a different template. I'm going to choose PPM to D365 project cost load. Then we'll start our wizard. The first step is to export from PPM, so verify all the information is correct. The purchase invoice from D365 is a target. The source is staffing profiles from projects. Looks good. Go into the field mappings, and these are the default field mappings based on our template selected. So everything's going to be done according to the primary key. In this case, the ID is the vendor name and the external project code. So this is a field mapping between the two systems. Join them, the date. Let's see, everything looks right. So field mapping looks good. Go to the next step. And Spot just loaded 10 records post-transformation for processing. So we can take a look at in the staging area in just a sec. Now we'll click on OK. Okay, great. So here are our 10 records from our staffing profile. Those are the actual hours. And once I click on save, these will be exported to D365 into that purchase invoice. So let me go ahead and hit save. Okay, great. So 10 entities were successfully processed. So all this information was exported into D365. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like now, that purchase invoice in D365. Refresh. Now, along with Marty and Lena, which we had originally, now we have 10 other lines corresponding to the resources we had signed on the staffing profile, and those hours are exported to this purchase invoice. So just as a reminder, if the data source is clean and the Spot templates accurately capture the requirements and design mappings are working as intended, then these integrations I just showed can be fully automated. Everything was done manually here just to show you what's possible in the staging area. So let's go back to the deck. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you appreciate the simplicity and convenience which Spot introduces to this very complicated subject of PPM integrations. Whether you're an existing customer or not, whether you work for a small or large organization, please feel free to contact us at info@ppmetrics.com to schedule a full demo or visit us at our website ppmetrics.com to learn more.